dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle. No script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk, this is thought that counts. Welcome to the feed where the signal mounts.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into some pretty intense online drama. It's the fallout from a specific live stream discussion.
Yeah, the source we're looking at is a transcript from OTW Live on YouTube. The title gives you a taste. Is reality engineered? Who's really writing the script? #OpenPanel.
It sounds dramatic.
It is. What we've got here is basically a raw feed of a superheated, kind of chaotic online clash. You know, accusations flying left and right, immediate pushback. It's actually pretty hard to follow in real time.
Right. So that's our job today, and yours listening in. We need to navigate this this whirlwind. We're going to pull out the main claims, look at the defenses people offered, and try to figure out the underlying currents without getting totally swamped by the arguing.
Yeah, cut through the noise, basically.
Okay, let's dive in. It kicks off with this speaker, Snaps, making some really serious claims against someone called Hank of Flammo, also known as John Lewis. What jumped out at you right away?
Well, just the intensity from the get-go. Snaps accuses Hank of lying, basically, and even brings up things he calls universal pedophile symbols in, like, Hank's background visuals or something.
Wow. Okay. That's a heavy accusation straight out of the gate. Even without knowing exactly what symbols he means, you can see the tactic, right?
Yeah.
Using really loaded language?
Definitely. And it ramps up from there. He talks about Hank's Discord server claiming Hank had kids, like really young kids, 8 or 9 years old, in there.
And knew about it.
Yeah, and then apparently lied about it. That's the core of Snap's claim there. It's presented as deliberate.
Okay. And Snaps uses these strange terms. Sex optics, talk optics, church optics, jab optics. What do you make of that?
It's interesting phrasing. It seems like Snaps is trying to build a case for a pattern of behavior, right? Suggesting Hank is consciously crafting this online persona in ways Snaps finds, well, deeply problematic across different areas. Sex optics probably refers to interactions or content that could be seen as inappropriate or grooming adjacent, even if not explicitly illegal.
So painting a broader picture of concern. Then comes, like, the bombshell claim. Hank got caught grooming a 9-year-old child yesterday. Just boom.
Extremely direct, extremely serious. And he connects it to this thing called the Panda Club.
The Panda Club, what's that about?
Well, according to Snaps, it's presented as something really sinister. He mentions grape optics, describing eyes filled with blood. Says Hank is the president. It sounds designed to shock and associate Hank with, really disturbing imagery.
Right. Maximum impact. And Snaps keeps escalating, talking about real shit, his words involving children killing, child sex service, child sacrifice.
And he links it all to something called Monograph and says there are whistleblowers involved. I mean, it's just this rapid-fire barrage of the most extreme accusations you can imagine.
Okay, so how does Hank react when he gets a chance to respond to all this?
Well, Hank jumps in pretty quick. He interrupts Snaps, and his first move is deflection, right? He comments on Snaps' shirt, asks if he's wearing clothes in the hospital. It's a classic attempt to undermine the accuser personally.
Yeah, change the subject, attack the messenger. We see that a lot. Then Hank hits back with his own claim.
He does. He says Snaps is just mad because Hank supposedly talked to Hank's local police about Snaps' behavior on the internet. So suddenly, law enforcement is potentially involved.
Okay, that raises the stakes. What exactly did Hank allegedly report?
It's not totally clear from this part. Hank then accuses Snaps of threatening to file 4-year requests. He probably means FOIA, Freedom of Information Act requests about this police interaction.
Trying to get the police report.
Exactly. But Hank claims those reports are protected under Pennsylvania law and federal law, specifically FOIA, which is an interesting interpretation of FOIA, maybe. Snaps definitely disputes it later.
So a legal side dispute starts brewing, too. And Hank keeps going with the counter-accusation.
Oh, yeah. He accuses Snaps of using a cheap-ass voice changer to call into his show an AstroTurf, a controversy, basically saying Snaps is manufacturing the whole thing.
AstroTurfing, like faking grassroots concern.
Got it. And Hank doubles down on the police angle, claiming he contacted Snaps' department, implying Snaps is maybe in law enforcement or some official capacity.
And he says he filed a report because he feared for his life.
He does. But Snaps immediately calls him out on that, saying, wait a minute, you supposedly feared for your life, but then you came on my panel multiple times after that.
Yeah, that does seem a bit odd, doesn't it? If you genuinely fear for your life from someone.
It raises questions, for sure, and Hank just insists FOIA doesn't apply here, so you have these two completely different stories clashing.
Okay, let's zero in on the specific alleged grooming incident. Snaps says he has video. What are the details there?
Right, the video evidence claim. Snaps lays out the sequence where Hank supposedly lied multiple times about a child who appeared on Hank's panel.
Ah, so.
First, Hank allegedly said he didn't know who the kid was. Then, he apparently suggested Snaps sent the kid. Then he claimed he did know the person, someone called Leafly. But Snaps' main point is that this child was actually, he claims, in Hank's own Discord server the whole time.
Which, if true, would make the denials look pretty bad.
Exactly. And Snaps argues that is the grooming having a kid apparently under 10 in his Discord and then lying about it. He says you can even hear the child saying 9 and I'm kind.
Wow. Okay. How did Hank react in the moment, according to Snap's description of the video?
It sounds pretty awkward. Snap says Hank asked the other panelists, how old do you think he is? Like maybe testing the waters?
Trying to see if others thought it was a kid.
Possibly. Eventually, Hank apparently said the child was blocked and couldn't come back for 9 more years. But then he tries to identify the child as this Leafly person born in 95 or 96.
So claiming the person was actually an adult, like 28 or 29.
Yeah, directly contradicting the 9 and I'm kind statement and what Snaps insists was clearly a child's voice. Snaps also adds that Hank's behavior during this, like turning off lights, using a headlamp, was just creepy.
Okay, so that alleged incident and the supposed lies around it seem absolutely central to Snap's case against Hank.
Definitely seems to be Exhibit A.
Now, this wasn't just about Snaps and Hank, right? Other names started popping up. Who else gets dragged into this?
Yeah, the net widens quite a bit. There's mention of Venus Cupcake and someone called Tarek, who also goes by T. Rains or October Rains. They're apparently linked to some alleged charity fraud and also accused of targeting Snaps.
Okay, so more layers of conflict.
And it gets wilder. Snaps claims this T. Rains person has dual citizenship, maybe servers in Turkey, and again, links it all back to this monograph thing and these very serious, though unspecified, allegations.
Monograph again. It sounds like a catch-all term for something sinister in this narrative. What's it supposed to represent?
Well, according to Snaps, it's tied to the absolute worst stuff. Child killing, child pornography, even the Epstein situation. He claims federal employees are whistleblowing about it. So linking Hank and his associates to Monograph is basically painting them as part of some massive, horrific conspiracy.
That's quite a leap from a Discord argument. Who else is mentioned?
There's a TK who seems to be defending Hank. And then Tommy Alum, or just Tommy. Apparently, Tommy was initially mad at Snaps too, but then seemed to switch sides or at least disagreed with Hank about the police report claims.
Yeah.
And then adding another really disturbing note, Snaps describes Tommy as a self-admitted pedophile.
Right. That just
Ridiculous.
adds. Yeah. And other participants.
There's someone referred to as Officer Snaps, also called Patrick, who gets accused of slandering Hank. And then 5-Speed, who keeps pushing back on Snaps, asking the pretty logical question, if these accusations are so serious and you have evidence, why haven't you gone to the police?
A fair question in the circumstances.
Yeah, and the term qualified immunity gets thrown in there briefly, though it's not really explained how it's relevant.
It sounds like an absolute mess. How did the fact that this was all happening on a live stream affect things?
Oh, massively. The format itself played a huge role. For instance, they had this system of paid dunking time, like pay $20, get 20 minutes to interrupt someone.
Seriously. You could pay to interrupt.
Apparently so, which obviously just fuels the chaos, right? And makes it almost impossible to have a coherent exchange when someone can just buy time to shut you down.
Yeah, that sounds counterproductive to getting at any truth. And Snaps was actually removed sometimes.
He was, yeah. Temporarily kicked off the panel, which, suggests someone was trying to control the flow of information or at least silence him for a bit.
And what about the audience? Were they buying any of it?
Well, they ran a poll asking if Hank was guilty, and initially it was split. So no clear consensus there. And then someone named Red 40 actually paid to change the subject entirely to something called tar optics.
Tar optics? Any idea what that means?
Not from this transcript, no. But it just shows how easily the conversation could be derailed, maybe deliberately. It feels very performative in moments.
Meanwhile, Snaps is just daring people to sue him.
Repeatedly. "Take me to court," he says. He seems convinced he's right, but also seems to think he's more likely to be, physically harmed than sued.
And Hank's demeanor.
Sounds like it was all over the place. And at some point, he apparently started making accusations about Snap's race and religion.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it really devolved.
Yeah, it got pretty ugly. And you get the sense the hosts, OTW, were just trying to keep a lid on it, but it was like herding cats in a hurricane.
Not an easy job. So as this particular segment wound down, what were the last few exchanges? Did anything get resolved?
Not really. 5-Speed circled back again, asking Snaps why he hadn't gone to the authorities. Snaps deflected, calling 5-Speed a pedophile advocate.
Yikes.
Yeah. Hank seemed to backtrack or contradict himself about whether he had actually filed a formal police report. Someone brought up Discord's age rules. Snaps claimed he was working with law enforcement, but, vaguely.
So no real clarity there either.
No. Someone named Ragmuffin chimed in, just expressing concern about the whole thing, which maybe reflected how some viewers were feeling just uneasy, and that tar optics discussion got pushed to another time because they ran out of time.
And it ended.
Yeah.
Chaotically.
Pretty much. Snaps got removed again temporarily, and you hear the hosts, OTW and someone else named Chris, basically saying they're uncomfortable with how it all went down.
Okay, so we've waded through this incredibly turbulent stream. Stepping back, what are the main takeaways for you?
Well, the core conflict is crystal clear, even if the truth isn't. You have these incredibly severe accusations, primarily child grooming, leveled by Snaps against Hank.
Right.
And on the other side, you have Hank and his supporters firing back with claims of defamation, saying it's all made up maybe for political reasons or personal vendettas.
And the live stream itself, it definitely didn't lead any clear answers, did it? It almost feels like the opposite.
Exactly. It really showcases the raw, messy reality of online conflict. Accusations fly, things escalate incredibly quickly, facts become almost impossible to pin down amidst all the emotion, the interruptions, the performative aspect.
It's quite something. It really highlights how difficult it is to sort fact from fiction in these spaces.
Absolutely. You see how narratives get constructed, how easily things can spiral.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. We live in this world of instant online information, instant accusations. How do you navigate that? How do we find truth, ensure accountability, protect people who might be vulnerable, especially when faced with stories that are this conflicting, this charged?
Yeah, and what's the role of the platforms themselves, the communities? Do they have a responsibility in situations like this? It's a huge question.
Definitely something worth thinking about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.
One spark from the shadows to the bright, let's light the dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle, no script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold